Welcome to the Coop Tank. I'm your host, Steve Cooper, coming to you from SuiteRecording in beautiful Mount Laurel, New Jersey. And Joe, I was driving over today, and I know you're a big music guy, and Aerosmith's Sweet Emotion came on. And to me, that has one of like the best opening bass lines. Now, you're a guitar player. I don't know if you dabble in bass at all, but what's a bass line that you really like in a song?
Coop, I'm a big Zeppelin guy, and for me, it's easy. It's got to be Ramble On. It's just so good. It never gets old. So that's it.
All right.
But one more I'd like to mention is Groove Me by King Floyd. It's like a 60s funk tune. It's a killer bass line. Check it out.
Well, it's always a good bass line. And, I said SuiteRecording so good. Tell us a little about SuiteRecording, what makes it so special here.
Yeah, absolutely. At SuiteRecording, we help brands and businesses to leverage the power of podcasts and video content. Podcasting can be a great tool for generating a lot of content beyond just your podcasts, such as video clips, blog posts, newsletters, and more. It's also like a great tool for your business development too. Like if you think about the possibilities with strengthening your network, like Coop does so well on the Coop Tank, and just building your brand authority by serving as a thought leader and just kind of establishing yourself as an influencer in your space. So right here at SuiteRecording, we can help you with everything from sort of planning that out with strategy all the way through to recording, production, and publication. So I'd love to talk with you about how we can turn your business into a powerful brand-aligned podcast. So you can reach out anytime at hello@suiterecording.com or visit us on the web at suiterecording.com. That's SUITE. Take it away, Coop.
We have a great show today. Our first guest is from Sisu. I like that name. I had to ask her. I had to make sure it was Sisu Physical Therapy. It's Kelliann Gallagher. How you doing, Kelly?
Hey, thanks for having me on here, Steve.
No worries. And then from Remco Insurance Company, Remco Insurance Services, we have Mr. Jay Falconio. How you doing today, Jay?
Good, Steve. Thanks for having me.
And from Weichert Realtors, my buddy. I always network with him once a month. Michael DiPlacido. How you doing, Mike?
I am doing great. Thank you so much, Steve, for having me here.
All right. So Kelliann, tell us a little about Sisu.
Sisu, the word or the business
Your
itself?
business, the physical therapy, your company.
So it actually goes hand in hand. So I'll actually do a brief with the word. So Sisu is a Finnish term that means extraordinary determination in the face of extreme adversity. And we help active people, motivated movers, get better and stay better.
Okay. How about you, Jay? Tell us a little more about Remco Insurance Services.
Sure. Remco is a property and casualty firm in Bucks County. We have a reach over 30 states in the United States. So we're doing everything from home and auto, but our specialty is business insurance. So small, medium, large size businesses, we are your one-stop shop. And over, I guess, the 3 to 4 years, we've scaled really well with the help of social media, with the help of podcasts, with the help of just in general, getting out and shaking hands and getting to know some wonderful people in our community. So a 3-person agency that was in 2019 is now a 15-person agency. So happy to, proud of that. So
That's awesome. That's great growth. Michael, tell me a little more about Weichert.
Yeah, so well, first of all, Weichert Realtors been in the market longer than any other real estate company in New Jersey, and actually since 1969. And it's still family run by Jim Weichert and his son, Jim Jr. It's a regional company. We have a nice niche in the market. But also I want to talk about that I have my own real estate team within Weichert, which is called the DiPlacido Group. And that team, we specialize in helping buyers find homes and helping sellers sell their homes, and we work with investors as well. But we have a full team. It's also family type business. 2 of my boys are on my team and working with us. But we have a transaction coordinator, marketing specialists, et cetera, to help us with marketing the properties as we list them.
Okay. Well, okay. Now I want to find out because everyone has a story. We always say that, you go out, you talk to people, and everyone has a story. Everyone has a different path. How I ended up back here is my own story. I have to live in LA for years, and I'm from the area, and I moved back. But whatever, that's my story. But I want to know, Jay, how did you end up with Remco? What was your path to this company? Because it's pretty fascinating. I'm still fascinated how many people has grown so much in the last few years. But what was your path, though? What was your background?
background was in hospitality management. So I went to Penn State and graduated with a hospitality degree with an emphasis on nutritional sciences. So a few of my buddies that I grew up with wanted to launch a meal delivery service for what it's worth. And we grew that company over 5.5 years to contract UPS to have these packages shipped internationally and to the doorsteps of all the states in the US. One of our best customers, who was always texting me feedback on the meals because our menu changed every week, I took a liking to. Found out that, lo and behold, he was in real estate. He had an insurance firm. He at one point helped my parents out with a lease in Northeast Philly. Who introduced me to Remco Insurance Services, and we ended up partnering up and growing that starting 2019. So background in hospitality. When we sold that company, the meal delivery service, again, we were shipping nationwide. We had 65 people on payroll. I was overseeing the back of the end meal production and the logistics. So being able to manage a very unique workforce of 65 individuals prepping meals for the country has helped me, scale what is now Remco Insurance.
Okay. How about you, Michael? What was your path to real estate? Because, Weichert's been around for a long time, but I think we had talked before. You've done some stuff before real.
Yeah, I make myself real old. So yeah, I've done a lot of stuff before real estate. Just quick, I spent almost 20 years in corporate America in telephony. Worked for Sprint and then MCI, selling voice and data networks, the Fortune 500 companies. So my whole background's been sales, but then I came out of that and I went into mortgages. And it's interesting because I started my own mortgage company, which when I see the name Remco, reminds me a lot of my mortgage company because it was called Bermco for best interest rate mortgage company. So I had a mortgage company, and then that led me into real estate.
Okay. How about you, Kelly? What's your path? Because to Sisu.
I've always been an athlete, really, since lifting weights when I was 13, to sports in general. Then I graduated from Temple and with my doctorate in physical therapy, and worked for a larger company, corporate, and decided I wanted to take my patients' healthcare in my own hands and really be able to not be defined by, unfortunately, insurance companies, but by how they needed to be treated at that time. So,
okay. So y'all have a good story. Y'all work hard. What motivates you? We'll start with you, Kelliann. What motivates you in the morning to get up? Because a lot of times, when it's nice out, you don't want to get out of bed. When it's crappy out, you don't want to get out of bed. I mean, sometimes bed's just nice to be in, but you have to get motivated and you have to get your ass in gear. What motivates you throughout the day? What's your motivation to keep you running, keep your stuff going on?
oh, it's super simple. I help people all day, every day. So actually running the business, that's the hard part. The easy part is actually helping people and seeing clients for me and just bringing them through their plan of care. Motivates me. Like even this morning, I had an evaluation, someone that's back on track to our health and fitness, has some pain, and it kind of rolls into the next journey, the next goal. So, okay, we get this pain going away, and now we're lifting, and now we're strength training, and now you're able to pick up your kids, your grandkids without pain. Like, it's amazing the lives we change here, honestly.
Okay, how about you, Michael? What motivates you?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the same thing as Kelly, is helping people. It's fun, and we enjoy the challenge, especially in this market right now. For our buyers, it's very difficult to find inventory for them, and we take that as a challenge, and we go all out to find them a property. If those properties aren't there and they're looking in a certain area, we'll do a letter campaign where we'll send out thousands of letters just to see if anyone in that particular area is looking to sell their home or if they know of anyone. And a lot of times we get some good hits on that. So it's a challenge. We're helping people, and that definitely motivates me. The thing about getting up in the morning, though, that you mentioned, it's funny because when I was younger, it was a lot harder to get up in the morning. I've kind of turned into my grandmother, where she used to be up at the crack of dawn, and that's kind of like how I am now at this stage of the game. I'm up and out.
Isn't it weird that we actually like back when I did comedy, I wouldn't get to bed till like 2 or 2:30, and I'd be up late. But now it's like this morning I woke up at like 5, and I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, what? This sucks. And like, there's nothing on TV at 5. You get the local weather. The guy, it's awful. The news is awful at like 5. But yeah, it's weird as you get older. It's like you sleep less, and I'm like, what? I thought I was supposed to sleep longer. Jay, you're a young guy. You're a vibrant young guy. What motivates you?
I don't. I would say legacy. Yeah. So my grandfather was an entrepreneur. My father's an entrepreneur. I think having my grandfather come to this country and not even be able to speak English, my dad putting himself through school and starting his own business, has kind of like I always want if my I guess baseline is here for my father. I started here, so I have to go up higher. So third generation entrepreneurial spirit, legacy is everything. So I think it's awesome that if you have the ability to work with family, I think that that's incredible. I would like to be able to do that one day, but for right now, everyone that I hired, everyone that I brought on, I see them as family. We're very close knit. So for right now, I don't have any kids. I'm not married, but the 15 Remco peeps, they definitely fill that void for me right now. So.
Okay, so you all own your own businesses pretty much. So we're going to ask you. We're going to start with you, Jay. In the last year or last 2 years, what's a challenge that you've overcome in business or personal that you're like, man, I'm glad I did this? Because a lot of times, people overcome stuff and you hear about it, you go, holy shit. Like, I hear stories all the time of people, the stuff that they've overcome, and you're like, they came from nothing. But what's something you've overcome that you really sit there and you want to tell people about it because it's pretty impressive?
Yeah, okay, that's a good one. I think with technology, it's definitely helped manage, especially post-COVID. So I think investing in the right technology for the firm has helped me be a better leader, a better manager. Something that I think initially was a problem would be the micromanaging. So with technology, I've been able to take a little bit more of a step back and provide some trust in the team that we brought on. So I would say, taking a step back, using technology to manage in an aspect where it still feels like, you can still check on certain things, checks and balances, but you're not micromanaging. So I think that that's probably been something investing in the right technology for the firm.
Okay. How about you, Michael?
Yeah, well, the biggest thing that I've just overcome is I've after decades and decades of using a paper calendar, writing everything down, color coding, I went to Google Calendar and just in the last couple weeks. So I am really impressed with myself that I took that leap of faith. But no, all kidding aside, I did do that. But I think the biggest challenge overcoming is working with my team members to help them grow their business, to teach them the business, to teach them how to get listings, how to market properties. Coming into real estate, agents, when they first come in, they're buyer's agents. They kind of stick to being a buyer's agent for quite some time because that's a whole different thing than listing someone's home, right? Listing someone's home is all marketing and sales. And you really need to know the ins and outs of real estate to do that. So as a team leader, I'm one of the few team leaders that teach agents that come on the team how to list. And the reason why a lot of team leaders don't, and they're probably right, is they are teaching someone to eventually be their competition. So they don't like to do that, right? So I'm at the point where, like I said, I have two of my sons on the team. I have three other people on my team that are very dear to me, and I really want to teach them every aspect of the business. And that's what's the most gratifying to me, and that's been the biggest challenge that I had to overcome is just pouring myself into them on how to do those types of things and being able to decrease myself a little bit so that they can increase, if that makes sense.
Okay. How about you, Kelly? What's something you've overcome?
Well, just starting a business from scratch is number one. I literally started in a lobby with a table and my hands in a CrossFit gym. and have grown to now standalone space. We have another therapist on staff who specializes in pelvic floor, and that wouldn't have been too good at CrossFit gym, but in the lobby anyway. Uh, but it's overcoming that and, being like confident in myself, able to provide the care. Whoever walks through our door, we can either see or I know who to refer out to as well. So just growing the business, able to help people the right way is number one.
Okay. So you all have these great jobs. So I'm going to start, we go on social media and we always see people saying how, the hashtag love my job. And you're always like, yeah, it's like, come on, some of these people, you go, how do you love that? I mean, I understand it, but sometimes, and it's just a lot of the BS that goes on. But Michael, what do you like about your job? What is it something you like and love about your job? Because there are reasons, that's why you do it. But what's something that you like or love? You might even love it about your job.
Yeah, well, there's a lot actually I love about my job, but the first thing is being an entrepreneur, right? As a real estate agent, you're an independent contractor, you're absolutely an entrepreneur, and it's as much as you put into it is what you're going to get out of it, right? So other businesses I've owned, like my mortgage company, I've owned some restaurants and some yogurt stores. You had to put a lot of money out. You had to put a lot of money out for inventory, et cetera. In real estate, the inventory is the MLS system, the multiple listing system. It's all your inventory there. So you already have your inventory set for you. So you really can just concentrate on the sales and marketing aspect of the position, and really pour yourself into that aspect of it, and not as much as putting money out and always trying to increase inventory as for your buyers and so on. Also, the freedom that it gives you, right? So when you're working for yourself and an entrepreneur, where you have that freedom to build it as big as you want, scale it down if you want, continue to play around with the model to get it to a part that fits your lifestyle. So I like that aspect of it as well. But there's a lot of, I love helping my clients, especially like I said, with buyers. In this market, it's challenging to find them inventory, properties that are on the market. And like I said, we go all out for that. And then it's very gratifying also when we have a listing that we need to tweak that property. We need to do a few things with that property to get it right for market. And when you do that and you hit all the right spots for that and it pays off, that's very gratifying as well.
Okay. So, how about you, Kelly? What do you like about or love about your job? Because you look happy. You look happy, so something's got to be going right. It's not like you wake up and go, "Oh, my job fucking sucks." You get there and you're like happy. I can tell. You've been smiling the whole time you're on.
I know. Honestly, I've always had jobs. I've always had this mindset where I always had jobs I liked for the most part. I mean, go through it. Like I've worked in concert venues, everything. I always figured if I was going to make money, might as well do something I could figure out along the way. But the best thing about, especially with Sisu, it's the creativity that allows me. I'm a very creative person. We're kind of a little bit outside the box with some things as far as like our logo wise, treatment wise. Like I'm even thinking about partnering up with a tattoo shop for like when people hit their milestones, like doing Ironman, providing, with our rock stars, we call them, filling in that. But creativity is number one. And I also just being like an entrepreneur and owning a business, the personal growth is amazing. Like just meeting people, meeting the mindset, going through these tough challenges. I love that. And of course, helping people. That's always the number one. It really comes down to, and not, avoiding pills, avoiding these medicines, avoiding surgeries. No, that's why I'm smiling all the time. There's so many different aspects I love about it. I mean, there's definitely hard days and all that, but there's so much more positive that it overrides it. And I'm just so grateful for, where we're at.
It's funny you said about the pills and medicine like that. I just saw a story this morning that the decongestants that's been over the counter for years. Well, it turns out the decongestant doesn't work. So they got to pull them. And it's been there for like 35 years. People have been using this. They said after all this time, they're like, oh, it doesn't work. So
Yeah.
that's always
Meanwhile,
interesting.
people making meth out of them and all this.
Exactly.
Seriously, it works.
You can't even buy Sudafed with like to going out. You have to go like find the person and to take it down. And it's Walmart. They don't give a shit. They're like, yeah, whatever. We don't care. You know, this you don't find anyone. So Jay,
Right.
what do you love about your job? Because you had a good job going, man, and now you're this and you're building. So what do you love about it?
I love building, but to hit the nail on the head, having a business and having to use insurance for that other business taught me a valuable lesson that I love dealing with business owners personally. Look, I love the home and auto product. I think it's incredible. I think it's a great business, but my uncle dropped us for like $10 savings a month. And I'm like, well, you're not coming to Thanksgiving. There's no loyalty in the home and auto product. There just isn't. But a business owner, somebody like Kelly, who, her business is everything. If her lights were to go out or a piece of her expensive, equipment were to break or something like that, having a policy that takes care of that business and products that can keep that business up and running, that's where my heart's at. So quick story, in the kitchen, one of our reefer trailers broke down. We were a large batch catering company. We had about $35,000 worth of inventory. We were high end. We used organic meats, organic, chicken, all that kind of stuff, vegetables. It went down. All the spoilage, $35,000 worth of spoilage, our insurance policy didn't cover it. We didn't have refrigerator breakdown coverage. We ended up having to go into our escrow, pulling that money out to keep us in operation. So that taught me, 5 years before I even got involved in insurance or became a licensed agent, that experience taught me, make sure if you're a business owner, have good insurance. And I tell that story to all of our business insurance clients because it was real and I felt it. And, when you put yourself in that situation, you can really tap into your client base. So I love the business insurance aspect of it. I love building relationships with business owners. And we have some really unique ones on the books. I think it's really fun to see how people make a living. And some of the jobs more interesting than others. So I like building, I like business owners, and I like relationships. So I think that those are things that just always keep things fresh.
Okay. Well, then, Jay, I'll ask you this. What do you not like about your job? Because, everything's not always flowers. There's always something that, you can like 85% of your job. It's like anything. I love my wife to death, but, she remakes the bed every morning when I make it and it pisses me off. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, you don't do it right. But that's the thing you deal with. But what's something that you don't like about your job, Jay?
What I don't like about the job, not mine particular, but the industry. I don't like the industry I'm in, and I'm using it as motivation. Like I like parts of it, but I don't like the misnomer that insurance agents get. I think that there's a lot of insurance agents out there who started off really fresh and kept good books of business. But the misconception, or I think what I'm trying to correct is this industry is good with residual. This industry is good with renewals. So keeping good customer service a part of the insurance industry so that when you sell somebody a piece of paper or for what it's worth, a PDF document these days, when they actually have to use it, show up. I don't like the insurance broker that doesn't respond to claims, that doesn't help their client get connected to the right carrier. So in this industry, we sell something and we sell it out of fear. Insurance is something you sell out of fear. Hey, make sure you're properly covered. So when that day comes, you're taken care of. I don't like the misconception that the insurance agent is just selling something that you eventually never have to use. So I try to correct that every day. One of the catchy sayings is no insurance agent likes claims, trying to get like shirts made. I love claims. Remco loves claims. That's crazy. When you read that, you're like, that's insane. But business insurance clients, they appreciate when somebody who sold them something takes care of a claim properly. So,
okay. How about you, Kelly? What do you not like about your job?
I'm going to go kind of piggyback off that a little bit. I don't like the perception people have of physical therapy and of healthcare in general, because really it's sick care, and providing like after something happens. So just even explaining how we're different, and although there's a lot of education involved, that's, kind of what I'm like. I don't like the way that PT mills are set up, and we are totally not like that. And I don't like doing financials, but that's another thing. That's a whole nother, give someone else to do that.
Okay. How about you, Michael? What don't you like about your job? Because you seem to be very happy. I always see out you're a happy guy. Liz works for you. She's wonderful. Your kids are great. I've met them. What's something you don't like about your job, though?
It's kind of bittersweet. So the thing that I would say I don't like about the job but at the same time as a definitely an attribute, is it's 724. So it's the only profession that I'm aware of that a client expects to be able to get you 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. They'll call you at night, 10 o'clock, 10:30 at night, Saturday, Sunday. Doesn't matter. You're not getting an attorney at night. You're not getting an attorney on the weekend or a doctor. Right, Kelly? So,
Right. Hard
but
cutoff.
yeah. So anyway, it's the only profession where they expect to get you 724. But on the positive side of that is I can have my wife in the car and it's Sunday and we're driving somewhere and I'll get a call and all of a sudden somebody wants to list their house. So I'm setting an appointment as I'm driving. It's a Sunday and I'm filling up my work week. But on the downside, it's the 724
You,
availability.
it's funny you say that. We and my wife, when we came back from Italy, we'd flown out of JFK and we were taking the train from Penn Station to Hamilton. And there was a realtor across from us. And the guy she was dealing with was just a jackass. I mean, she was talking to him forever. And I'm like, my wife's like, I would have hung up on that guy like 15 minutes, after 15 minutes. But you're right. It was a Saturday and the whole train from Manhattan to New Jersey, he was on the phone and he was just bitching about something. And she's like, the laws have changed. It had nothing to do with her, but you're right. That would suck. Cause I was like,
Yeah.
she had nice, yeah, I would have been like, screw this. So that's cool. See, that's 24/7. Okay. So Kelliann, what's a strong point you have? What's a characteristic you have that you're very proud of?
Relatability. I can relate with my background of playing and from everything from roller derby to all different sports to being a musician as well, who I can relate to a lot of my clients and understand and have empathy for what they're going through and their goals too. So I think that's very a strong point. And as well as I've been doing this since 2011, I graduated. So anything that walks through our door, I could figure it out or have someone else that I know is an expert in that area figure it out too.
Okay. I want to follow up with you. What can you get better at?
I can get better at everything, even just like keeping up with the current trends with physical therapy, with medicine. I could always get better. I mean, as soon as you start think that you know everything, you're done. So I'm always learning, always getting better, whether it's business wise, whether it's treatment wise, to be the best for our clients, the best for the business, always getting better.
Same
Growth
question for you,
mindset.
Mike. What is something, a characteristic you're very proud of, and then what is something that you can get better at?
I would think that one of the things that I'm very proud of has always been prevalent in my career is tenacity. Kind of like a dog with a bone. Once I have something, I don't let it go. I'm going to drive it all the way through. So tenacity would be something that I'm as an attribute that I have that served me well in my career. As far as what can I get better at, I'll say the same thing, Kelly, is everything. There's always room for improvement on everything that we do. And if I had to pick one thing though, it would be on taking more time to build the relationships. Because so many times we get caught up in the transaction and there's a lot of moving parts that we don't take enough time to the human side of things and really build that relationship with the person. We're just kind of getting really transaction oriented and not really feeling the human aspect of it and building that relationship.
Okay. How about you, Jay? Something you're strong at and something you can improve at.
I'm actually going to try to merge the two based on what Mike said because I really like that. So I'm really good at following up. Um, I'm really, really good at that. But how do you make the follow-up not seem like you're pestering someone to be, bought? So I think something I'm trying to get better at is, being mindful of who I'm trying to follow up with, whether they're a client or a prospect, and make it feel like I'm just checking in. And then they usually then realize, oh, wait, I didn't get you my policy, or I didn't do what I said I was going to do, or I didn't, pay that invoice or something like that. So trying to just make it more, reaching out just by genuinely trying to build a relationship with them, which will stronger build that bond. And I probably won't have to follow up as much. So I think just I'm really good at following up, but also working on the relationship follow up and trying to build genuine relationships, which will hopefully allow me to not have to follow up so much.
Okay. So I'm someone who has my whole life has always flown by the seat of my pants. I've ended up in different industries. Just that's what I do. I'm not a big goal setter. I've always done what I've wanted to accomplish. I've accomplished the things I've wanted, and I'm not a goal setter. And I want to find out if you're a goal setter. Two, did you get your goals for 2024 you set? And three, are you already planning for 2025? And we'll talk to you. We'll start with you, Michael, because I know the real estate market, as you said, the inventory, it's probably crazy with getting houses. But are you a goal setter? And did you set goals for 2024 that you've accomplished? And do you plan to set goals already for 2025?
Excellent question. So, just as you were saying, I've been working on the goals for 2025 and looking at what the big goal was for 2024. And I was just looking at that this morning, and we should be able to hit it, but the jury's still out. So, so the big goal for 2024 was for the first time to hit platinum status, which is the highest status you can achieve as a real estate agent in this area, right? So it goes up to platinum. So that's been the goal. Looks like the team's going to hit it. So based on what we already have closed and what's already pending to settle before the end of the year, we should hit it. But if a couple things fall out, then maybe not. So it's not in the bag yet. And then in terms of setting goals for 2025, that's what I've been doing now, is sitting down with each team member, going through what their goals are, and then a strategy on how to get to that goal. So Liz's meeting's next week, and my sons were this week. Rebecca's is next week. And then the part-time agents, I just do it over the phone. But the full-time agents, it's in person, one-on-one, and we're in the process of doing that right now.
Okay. How about you, Jay?
That's great. So it's been 5 years, and this is like the first year we actually have metrics and goals. So I'm kind of embarrassed to admit that, but I think it's something that we had to put in place. So every individual agent has sales metrics for the month, for the quarter, for the year. And similar to how Mike was saying, we approach that this time of year, sit down one-on-one. I can say that we're on pace to highly surpass the goals that we set when we established those metrics. So now I'm wondering if I set the bar too low. I should have set it a little higher. But it's constant tweaking those things, and also having those one-on-one conversations with your team. So, right, somebody's goals for the agency might be something about being able to take more PTO, instead of making more money. So trying to individualize those goals and those efforts with your team is something that we're continuing to work on.
Okay. How about you, Kelly?
Oh, I'm a huge goal setter, huge goal. So the goal setting we set not only with our clients, like what their goals are is like my top number one thing, but also we'll do yearly goals for Sisu. I'll do quarterly, I'll do weekly, all the way down to daily. And the key thing I've learned was not have this huge task list. It's just one thing. What is the one thing I want to accomplish, if anything, this year? And not to get too bound down with time as well. So if I don't get it in, let's say, by the end of 24 and I hit it by the January 2025 or even February 2025, is it that big of a deal? Like, I hit the goal. So then you set the next one, move on. So time is flexible a little bit, but also hit the goals, overall goal, and narrow it down to what's the overarching and how do we get that to quarterly, monthly, weekly, daily, from there.
Okay. So we live in a day and age where referrals seem to be everything. I think it's a lot more. I think after the pandemic, networking changed, everything changed, and referrals are important, and we'd like to refer people. And I think that's the one thing about being a good networker is when you create a relationship with people and you refer them and you like to refer them. Unfortunately, sometimes we get burnt. You refer someone and they suck. And all of a sudden, they're not pissed. The person you refer them to isn't pissed at the person for sucking. They're pissed at you for referring it. They're like, what are you thinking? What were you thinking? And you're like, well, I don't know. I thought they were cool. You never know. But Jay, for you to refer somebody, okay, so someone comes up to you and it can be for a plumber. It can be for a real estate agent. It can be for anyone. What characteristics do those people have to have, or what was your relationship with them to actually have you refer? Because like I said earlier, at the end of the day, it's your ass on the line, and it can hurt your business too. Because people are like, they lose their trust in you somewhat because you gave them shitty advice. But what are some characteristics people need to have for you to refer to them?
Okay, so in terms of it, for me, it's a two-way street in terms of I get a lot of inquiries about businesses that people should lean on. So our book of business is primarily business owners. So I get a lot of people who ask for plumbers, for electricians, for roofers. I take a deep dive and I have my list of clients who I refer out, who I think are fantastic at their job. When you actually know the ins and outs of their business, it's a little easier to see which ones are the successful ones and which ones aren't. So that makes it a little easier. But in terms of my external referrals, so if someone needed title or real estate or somebody within my network, I usually spend at least a year getting to know that person before I send them any business. And I explain to them, it's more about that trust, right? I want to get to know, are they at the point in their career where they're ramping up, or are they at the point in their career where they're plateauing, or are they phasing out? I network with a lot, and I mean, take this for what it's worth. I network with a lot of young, successful, productive individuals. I specifically refer all my business to young, hungry, tenacious business owners and entrepreneurs and agents. So I have a very select group of people who are doing it at a high level. And when they're in that group of my inner circle and I refer it out, there's not many opportunities for failure. I mean, if you have one or two mistakes with a lead, we're going to sit down, we're going to figure out what happened there, but I'm going to have to look for the next title agent, or I'm going to have to look for the next realtor. So I have a very, very clear, I would say almost expectation for my referral partners, and they have it for me. Because I'm the first person. If we drop the ball, if Remco drops the ball, we really don't. Honestly, we really don't. We're really good at our craft. And I encourage, most of our referrals come from current clients, current business owners who say, they know what they're doing. So in terms of word of mouth referrals, we don't buy leads. We've never bought leads since I started with the company. We don't have to. We have a good book of business with word of mouth referrals. I have good referral partners who know that if they mess up, that we're going to have a sit down and figure out what happened. And it's a two-way street. I would do the same for them.
Okay. How about you, Kelly? What's it take for you to refer somebody?
That number one is because, well, first of all, my clients trust me a lot. We talk to, we spend an hour each time with each visit. So people talk about everything. So that they have good systems in place to follow up, because nothing is worse than you refer and they're like, oh, I didn't get a hold of so-and-so. I didn't get a hold of them. And I'm like, come on, that is the worst. So following up, systems in place, even if they can't help them, at least they can help them find someone that can help them, is really once someone, even if they don't take the business on themselves, I'll keep referring to them. Or if they do, if it works out, cool. That's a good referral to me. The system's in place and the follow-up, number one.
Okay. How about you, Michael? What's it take for you to refer someone?
Well, the first thing is they need to answer their phone. That's my biggest pet peeve, where people don't answer their phone any longer. And you call them, and next thing you know, they're texting you. So you need to answer your phone. Yeah, you need to have systems in place, follow up. I'm looking for good people, good citizens, somebody that's going to treat my client with integrity. So, and then you get a sense for people as you work with people over time, but integrity is the most important thing. But that they're showing up on time, they're answering their phone, they do what they say when they say they're going to do it. So as I develop those types of partners, that's invaluable, and I hold on to them. So we have a good handful of those folks in different ways, electricians and handymen to mortgage people, et cetera, that we feel confident, home inspectors, that we feel confident that they meet that criteria to refer out.
Okay. So, Kelly, in your life, you probably have had some role models. Uh, give me someone who's been a role model or someone who's had an influence on you to shape you who the person you are. I know that we know tons of them. We have tons of mentors. We meet tons of other people. But who's someone who's actually been a role model or someone who's pretty much shaped your work ethic or your personality? Who's someone that you always think of and go, wow, that person really played an important role in my life?
I have a combination. My dad's one of them. He and I are very similar. So he's a great role model as far as just taking life seriously, but not too seriously at the same time. So he's always been a role model in that regards. And then I've had other, coaches who are role models in sports, that I've kind of like patched everyone together a little bit. My grandmother was a role model. My uncle, like I have a bunch that I put together. I always think about that. Like who was really my number one? There's no number one. It's kind of like a meld of different people that I've kind of looked after and kind of developed into my own.
Okay, how about you, Michael?
So for me, I it was very difficult. I didn't have great role models growing up. I didn't have a father that was present or anything like that that I can point to. So going to get biblical. So that's where I'm heading with this the answer with this question. So my role model is Jesus, is the Bible, is my foundation. That's what I follow. That's what keeps me centered, and that's my role model.
Okay. How about you,
Thank you.
Jay?
I would say growing up, probably going back, my grandfather and my father, and I think currently one of the partners at the firm, the individual who got me involved in the firm and kind of my go-to guy. He's really everything I'm not in so many different ways. He's calm, cool, collected, thinks everything through. So I can always bounce ideas off him when I feel like I'm acting a little hasty. So yeah.
Okay, here's another two-parter. Two-parter. I'm doing a lot of two-parters today. I like that. I don't usually do a lot of two-parters, but here's a two-parter today. I ask this every week, and I want you to answer it honestly and where you are at now in your life. Okay, because it's going to be two-parters. It's going to be about what is success to you and what is happiness. Now that changes. When I was 25, I wanted to be a star. Okay, and now I know a lot of stars in their life. It's complicated. And happiness is a lot different for me now than it was, years ago. I'm happily married. My first marriage sucked. So happiness is a lot different then. But happiness and success. Jay, what is success to you at this point in your life? Not when you were, just out of college. What is success to you and what is happiness? And if you think they're the same thing, that's fine. But I know there are a lot of people who are successful, but they're not happy. So success and happiness.
I think they are the same. I think freedom. I think freedom in this day and age is number one. Being financially sound is a big pillar that allows for freedom, but being able to, utilize all these tools that the world has right now, right? Like technology. Back in the day, like you wanted to look something up, you went to a library. Everything is available. Everything is available. And you want to learn how to do something, watch YouTube. Like everything is available. So utilizing all the tools that we have at our fingertips to provide more freedom, to be able to take that trip, that you want to, at the drop of a hat. That's a luxury. So I think that's success, maybe something that I'm striving for, being able to just say, hey, I'm leaving today. Because if that happened, things would be going a little crazy over at the office. But being able to do that eventually would be a goal for me. But I think success would be to be able to just drop a hat and take a vacation. But something that I think is just such a great thing is freedom.
And that's happiness to you too, having that freedom?
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah.
YouTube is great, man. I learned how to cut a mango on YouTube because I always hated cutting mangoes because the pit's so damn big. And I'm like, I actually YouTubed how to cut a mango. And I'm thinking if everyone did like some of the stuff you look up on YouTube, you're like, how to do it's crazy. And it's pretty cool how you cut a mango. So, but then we got a mango cutter for our wedding. So it wasn't worth anything. Michael, success and happiness. And if you think they're the same, that's fine. But where you are in your life now?
Yeah. So no, I don't think they're the same. My success, uh, what I'm, my success is to give me the freedom to do some of the interests that I want to be able to do. And I'm going to change your word happiness to joy, because what I'm looking for is joy. Happiness is I'm happy I got this new sale, or I'm happy this property went to settlement and I got the check. You know, that's happiness. But I'm looking for joy. And right now, my wife and I are blessed enough that we're doing a lot of service work, ministry work, uh, where that's bringing us both joy. So that's where my joy comes from in service. But my success it's coming so to free me up to do more of those types of things.
Okay. How about you, Kelliann?
All right. So success to me right now would be having a clinic that is self-sufficient with me working part-time, seeing clients and 2 other physical therapists on staff full-time, and just not having a million clinics, having a really good hub of having a great community within Sisu itself. And I think happiness is a big choice and an inward look on yourself. And that could turn anyway, it goes back to what these guys were saying with freedom too. Time freedom, financial freedom. So if I have those, and that would also success, but having the freedom to enjoy life to its fullest, whether it's musically, whether it's sports, health, all that is happiness to me, family, and then just being able to be in emotional control of it all.
Okay. So we all network. That's the way that things go on now, man. Everyone's networking. My event the other night, there was like 70 people. When I put it on LinkedIn, I've been on TV. I've been in movies. I've written a book. I've produced a play. I've played City Winery. I've done a lot of stuff that I'm proud of. But creating an event like Cocktails with Cooper, I'm very proud of, because I put 70 people showed up, and it was a place where people were just making connections. There was no bullshit. There was no assholes. Because I always sit there. I think people know some people I just don't like. But and so I think they don't get. I just don't want them to come to my events. So I love networking. So we're gonna stay with you, Kelliann. What do you love about networking, and what don't you like? Because sometimes we don't like networking that much because people are whatever. But what do you like about networking, and then what don't you like, or what could get better in your eyes?
Yeah, I've grown to at first I thought, what is this? Me going into these strange areas with people I don't really know. Now I love networking. I love learning about people, what they do, what drives them, and not only how I can help them, but how can they help my people too. So that's like I said, we talk to people an hour. I like having someone and hooking them up and making sure that they're both successful. So I love talking to people, meeting. I just think even when I'm playing the string band. So when I'm over, in the city, I go to different clubhouses and I'm just networking. It's all networking. Just hanging out with people's networking. So I just love networking overall in general and meeting new people. What I don't like about it, and I'll be honest with you, it tends to be a boys' club. It tends to be the guys, and I'll say I'm in a call with 3 other guys, and I don't know if you'd say the boys come around, the guys all hey, what's up? And then it's kind of like the women, we have to start almost we're forced to start our own networking groups because we were so excluded from these boys clubs that are golfing together, smoking cigars and all this stuff, where little they know I do that stuff too, and they're not going to be asking me to go golfing and stuff. I have to consistently stay on top of it. So what I don't like about networking is the cliques and the boys clubs about it.
Okay. See, it's funny though. My networking is like that because 1, I don't smoke cigars, and 2, I don't play golf. But that's one thing I always learn, because I do all female panels on here sometimes, and I think it's great that in networking there are these women's groups coming together, and it's awesome because there's you got Melissa Peach, you got Maria Grande, you got just a bunch of people. Kelly over at Adjust Your Sleep Mattress Boutique. So I noticed also when I first moved back here, no one knew that I've interviewed 4 members of the E Street Band. No one knew. My friend was at my event. He goes, I saw you on the show Superstar. Superstar. I said, yeah, but I didn't tell anyone that. And so it was hard sometimes to break into that guys club. And of course, for me, I fall into the demographic of creepy old guy. But luckily, I have a beautiful wife, so people don't think I'm creepy. So they go, oh, it's Cooper. But my events, that's one thing I'm happy about is I do get a lot of females. And I always say to my friends, I said, I wish some of you guys were single because I've always divorced business owners. I said, don't go on dating sites. Come to one of my events. You clean up. They're successful. They're smart. So, Jay, what you like about networking and what you don't like about networking?
Life is networking. Life is a big networking event. It really is. So I would say, and Kelly, you have to get invited. I'll invite you to one of our real estate events. There's a lot of females there. So
Nice.
With that being said, when I first got into the industry, I needed to try to make a name for the company. So I started attending those chamber events and the business association events. And what I found was those were really good for like kind of finding your people, like, right, finding people that get along with you, like Cooper. Like, I get that. I appreciate that. You're like, I don't want you at my event. That's fine. It's your event. So you can pick and choose who you want. But these chamber events, they fill the room, 200, 250 people. They're out of those 250, maybe there's 20 realtors, there's 20 title people, there's probably 10 insurance people. So trying to stand out and find your people in those big events to then bring it back. At this point, we do quarterly client appreciation and referral partner appreciation events, which are my favorite. So my favorite thing to do is connecting my business insurance clients with each other. There's nothing better than a roofer having a problem with his accounting that meets, a business-focused accounting that we take care of, or a business-focused CPA. So I think what I really like about networking now is I've built a nice network that I can host, a client-focused or a referral partner-focused intimate event, and those are where the most genuine connections are being made. But first, getting started, yeah, it's intimidating. You have to find your people out there in the sea of networkers, and then also just realizing that we're always networking. Weekends, watching the Phils, you're at a bar. Coop, I know you visit your favorite places. That's all networking. That's all building relationships. And in our world, I think we're selling a particular product that anybody can buy it from anywhere. So they're not buying that product, they're buying you. So that's also another big piece.
Okay. How about you, Michael? Because your group's great. The Haddonfield Bash, it's higher end. It's a mixed crowd. Kelly, there's a lot of women there, and Michael does a great job. And oh my God, the place we went to, the Washington Township one, holy crap, man! These sausage sandwiches were so good, and the fries, I was like, these are like the best damn French fries. I was loving it. And the thing is, because sometimes you go to events and the food sucks. There's like 8 sheets of pepperoni and a few pieces of cheese. Your event, so you always like, especially at Cafe Lift last time. You guys had a spread, man. So what do you like about networking? What don't you like about networking?
Well, I pretty much like everything about networking. But I do want to say, Kelly, yes, you need to come to the Haddonfield Bash, which this one coming up, we're calling it a combined bash of Haddonfield, Washington Township. It's the Holiday Bash, and that is next Thursday.
Oh, you're Wednesday, Michael, you're Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday, you're right. I'm always doing it Thursday. Thank you. It's next Wednesday, the 13th. Thank you very much. It's next Wednesday at Trano's 6 to 8 in Westmont. You definitely want to come to that. Jay, you as well. Everyone is
Awesome.
welcome. If you know anyone else
Thank you.
that you network with that you want to bring them out. I started the bash because I couldn't find the right networking groups. They weren't showing up all the time. It was sporadic, or it was, very structured where you were, forced to bring in leads and you had to do certain things. And I just wanted to create an environment. BASH stands for Business Associate Social Hour, just for people to get together and build those relationships, make those connections. And if you make a connection with someone, great. You just build upon that and, help you grow your business. So we started Haddonfield Bash first, and then we just launched about 3 months ago, Washington Township Bash. And we meet monthly, once in the Haddonfield area and once a month in the Washington Township area. But like I said, this is the combined bash. The only thing I would say, Steve, I don't like about networking is a lot of the networking events are in the evening, and that pulls me away. A lot of them I don't go to because it just pulls me away from my family. So, but I'll try to attend at least three or four a month. I love the morning ones, even though I don't do a morning one. I love the morning ones. 8 o'clock in the morning, the earlier the better. Uh, they seem to be really do really well with them. So thank you.
Yeah, it is. Yours is good, and that's the thing. I created mine because I was doing it online during the pandemic, and everyone said you got to do a live event, but I'm like, I'm not. I don't want to put money out. Now I sit there. You pay your own tab. It's a great happy hour. They come in and we get packed because it's once again, as you said, if you like you don't like. You want to be with your family. Well, someone can get there at my event at 4:30. It starts at 4:30. People start showing up at 4, and you can go from 4 to 5 because you're not paying anything. That's the one thing, And as for you, Jay, what you said about the chambers and all, I agree with what you're saying. You find yourself. I always say when you're getting into like a chamber of commerce is sort of training wheels for networking because you start meeting people. You don't know people, and then you can build your own group. And that's the one thing. There's so many good groups. My group, Haddonfield Bash, Hampton Happy Hour, Tyler Ardron does his Death of the Fox, the coffee thing. There's just a lot of good free groups. And I think in this day and age, that's very important. So, okay, I don't read business books. I ask this question all the time, and I should start reading them. I did read a business book a few weeks ago while I'm listening to it because it was a guest on my other show, Cooper Talk. He was on The Sopranos. He was on City on the Hill, and he wrote a book called 10,000 No's. It's very impactful because actors, no matter what you think in business, actors go through more rejection than you'll ever know. I mean, people have Oscars and they still have to audition. I mean, so that's like a cutthroat world. That being said, we'll start with you, Michael. Are you a business book reader? And if you are, is there one that has made an impact on you?
So I was never a big reader until as I got later in my life, right? But I have read some business books like Miller Hyman's Strategic Selling that was big impact on my life when I was in corporate sales, and that was a big book. But the book that I read now, and I read a little bit of it every day, that really helps me with my business, and it really is the only book, which is the Bible, the living, breathing Word of God. So,
Okay, that's
yeah.
good. Okay, and how about you? How about you, Jay?
I would say I'm more of a podcast guy. The thing about the podcast is there's never an end, right? As long as that show continues to go on. So there's an agent, and he's out of Boise. His name's Matt Dietz. I've had him on Remco Real Talk, which operated out of Joe's studio over there. I recognize the sign on live over on air, so they do a great job. But yeah, that's the other thing about the podcast. I was able to have an agent who I looked up to and I aspired, and I listened to his podcast for so long. It's called Agency Launch, and it basically goes over all the things about scaling a PNC firm. So it was very focused. But with Joe's help, we were able to have him tune in, and he was one of the guests on one of our podcast shows. So I still listen to it. He's still, I guess, more of a model or a role model for me. But that podcast is a business education every time I listen to it. So that's probably it.
Okay, how about you, Kellyanne?
I business and self-development books I like to listen to. One of my top, especially getting into, if we're talking about networking, one of my top is The Charisma Myth. That is a great book. I probably read it once a year in the beginning of, like, in the September area. I love, like Grit by Angela Duckworth. That's a great book. Extreme Ownership, Jocko. Like, those are books I like to read that overlap business and leadership.
Charisma, the Riz. The kids call it Riz. I was at last Christmas. I was at my wife's brother's house, and his nephew, his friends all thought I had Riz because I'm friends with the drummer from Dog Star. So I was backstage with him and Keanu Reeves. So I showed a picture of me and Keanu Reeves. They're like, "Man, your uncle's got Riz." I was like, "Yeah, man, I got Riz." So anyway, here's the final question. What's that?
I'm going to use that.
Yeah, it's Riz. That's what the kids use.
Riz.
They call it charisma. They go, Riz, you got Riz. Okay, so here's our final question. You all have been great today. Someone comes up to you and they put you in the role as a mentor. Okay, they can be anywhere in their life. They can be young, they can be old, they can be your child, they can be, a kid getting out of college, anything. What advice We'll start with you, Kelly. What advice would you give in a mentorship role? If someone came and talked to you about life and business, and you just had to give them some insight, what's some insight you would give them?
Be adaptable to change and continue goal setting and staying on track with that. But adaptability is huge, and never like let's say PT, students, I've given the advice of this. As soon as you get out of PT school, go in. If you're going to do outpatient physical therapy, have a part-time job inpatient. Do both, because then you can do whatever later on in life. So be adaptable and able to change. I think that's probably number one.
Okay. How about you, Jay?
Student of the game, stay up to date on whatever industry you're in, continuing education, stay up to date on the trends and the things that are changing. You want to be the expert of your craft. Be that person who is a resource of knowledge. The other piece is probably more corny, but in the finance industry, if I could have started golfing 20 years sooner, I'd probably be making a lot more money. So there's something about the game of golf, whether you're, male or female, it doesn't matter. Because I've got my ass kicked by a bunch of females out on the golf course. I've only been playing for about 3.5 years, but for you to be able to have a 4-hour time window uninterrupted with 3 people, three people you want to get to know, is unique in the business world. So I would say be a student of the game and pick up golf.
I just want to say, jump in real quick, because golf is so important. You learn so much about someone when you play golf with someone. If they're going to get frustrated real easily, if they're going with the flow, if they just want to have a good time, or if they're kind of learn so much about someone in 4 hours, 5 hours of golf, depending on how fast you play.
Yeah. How about you, Michael? What's some advice you'd give?
Yeah, so actually there's a book sitting here right next to me, as you, I don't know if you can see that.
Okay. Way forward.
And it's guiding younger men in a changing culture. Part of a ministry I'm part of, which is called Man in the Mirror. And then there's another book sitting right here beside me called No Man Left Behind. And it's all about being spiritual fathers and helping younger men. And some of the things that we learn from that is, one, when you're mentoring a younger man, is that have some humility, right? Because if you don't, you're just being here and they're there, and it's just like you're kind of talking down to them. So, you need to have that humility, and you need to be able to share with that younger man the mistakes that you've made. And that comes with humility, right? So to be able to share those mistakes that you made, so that you kind of are on the same level, right? And they can, not just learn from the mistakes that you made, but you're on the same level with them now, right? And the good thing is, if I'm mentoring a young man, I've made a lot of mistakes, so I got a lot to share that way, that I think, could help a younger man know where the landmines are and be able to talk about that and navigate through that. So hope that answers your question.
That's been great. Kelly, how can people get in touch with you?
You could get in touch with me with Sisu, SISUPT.com. All my information's on there. That's the easiest way. Otherwise, Sisu Physical Therapy on Instagram too.
How about you, Jay?
I'm going to go with Instagram just because I co-manage that page. So at Remco Insurance Services, Instagram, Facebook, DM us, reach out. I see anything that comes through. So that'd be great.
How about you, Michael?
Me, I'm a phone guy. Give me a call. Hit me up, 609-313-6588. Or you can find us on Facebook, the DiPlacido Group, YouTube, and Instagram and Twitter, the DiPlacido Group.
So people, go contact them if you need their businesses. You can find me, email the Coop Tank at yahoo.com. Please go to YouTube, check out the Coop Tank. There's a bunch of episodes. Rate it, watch them. You get some really good insight from my guests. Also, the Coop's Comedy Corner, produced by Comedy Trainwreck out of Philadelphia. You can find that on YouTube. I'm only 7 episodes in, but we've had some great guests. We have Emmy winners. We've had 2 of my friends who stars in Homicide: Life on the Street, that great 80s TV show. CooperTalk.net, 1,026 episodes coming up soon. Alan Zweibel, legendary comedy writer. He wrote the first 5 seasons of SNL. He created It's Gary Shandling Show. That'll be posting tomorrow. Also, events coming up. What is it? This November, Tuesday, November 19th at Berman Jewelers. It's a Cooper Talk. Cocktails with Cooper pop-up. We'll be sitting there. It's Diamonds and Champagne. Deb Berman's going to be having some champagne out. You can see all her great collection of jewelry. Also on Tuesday, 26th of November, Cork's Comedy and Connections. It's a Soundplex studio. It's a great night. I have comic Jay Black headlining. And that's about it. Next Cocktails with Cooper is December 4th. Put it on your calendar. I already have all my sponsors, so you can get on board in January. And don't forget, Joe Gangemi, the man, the myth, the legend. Joe, the best producer around. Reach out to them at hello@suite, SUITE recording.com. I'm Steve Cooper. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I will talk to you all next time.